Good evening again, ladies and gentle beans. We are back with all your favourite superstars from the Exeter X team, this time going up against Team Solo Mind. Let's just minimize that message. Who are from Cardiff? So Exeter versus Cardiff in a slap battle to the finish. Oh, Jack Manac, don't send me messages on stream if you don't want me to open, because I just don't know how to not open things. Alright, so we're seeing the bans coming in quickly for the X team. Tam Kench and Shin Sao being banned out, which is interesting choices against, and Yeso Volibear of all people, and Jax being banned as the final bans for Team Solo Mind. Interesting choices. I guess we'll have to see who comes in first. Fizzy locking in that Darius, presumably going to be a top lane pick. And let's see if I can just spam the stream link around a bit in a group. Yes, let us see how many hats are on the field. We might be seeing a disconnect from Norbus on Team Solo Mind. Nope, it looks like it's only a tease. Well, oh sure, Aerotop, I'd be more than happy to talk to your team after this game, since of course Swansea was honoured by your performance. Yes. Anyone who might be coming along newly to the Twitch chat, you might be seeing the members of the previous game, Swansea team, while in Team Select, also in Twitch chat, just to keep me company. What great guys. Alright, so Team Solo Mind picking up Warwick or Warwick, if we're going to be proper about it, because I think that is how they want his name said, and Braum of all people. So unusual pickups for Team Solo Mind, which might explain some of the bans that they've come out as well. They're very specific. Bacon and Asians picking up that Vayne once again, and could we see the Tarek locked in as the support for the Extra X team? It seems risky. It's certainly a strong pickup against a very AD heavy opposing team, but at this point Team Solo Mind haven't really tipped their hand too heavily. But we'll see. Is it going to get locked in? Will we see a switch to a completely different character? Moments are ticking away. Is it going to be? It's going to be truly outrageous. Skiller takes a Tarek. Is that going to be what's going to counteract the Braum? It doesn't seem like that's going to probably work terrifically well, being as Braum's able to block the dazzle of Tarek relatively well. But hey, what am I to say? So Bacon and Asians. Well, the Tarek Vayne bottom lane for the X team, we don't even know. Say, the Team Solo Mind keeping the AD carry a secret until the last second, which is interesting. Papa Pepe, I think a substitute pickup for the X team. Hovering over the blank, let's talk for a second about Team Solo Mind's pickups in the top and middle lane. Really interesting choices. Ghost Boy picking up Oriana, which is going to synergize so well with the Warwick, able to teleport himself, presumably with the ball attached, onto an opposing champion and get exactly where they want the ball to be. So very smart pickup. And I presume Benja is what that name is. I'm going to go with Benja on equally a very good vector for that ball of Oriana. Going to be problematic, I think, for the X team. A nice team setup. They also got a very distinct idea of what they want to do, which is to make one very small part of the map a nightmare for the X team and try and gently encourage them to enter that area. Still, the last pickup for the X team looks like it's probably going to be Vi, and yes, it is. So, interesting choice. We've got some potential lockdown. It looks like we are lacking perhaps a little bit for range on the X team's part, being as we've got a very short range top laner, short range support, short range AD carry, melee jungler, and well, I suppose you can't really say the same for Ahri. But I'll be interested to see how their game plan plays out, I guess, yes, they are lacking hats, of course, which is really the only thing that matters. We don't know yet whether Benja has gone for the hat-equipped Gnar variant, which is obviously OP and is in dire need of a good nerfing. The last pickup for Team Solar Mind, of course, being Lucian, so it's going to have that ranged advantage over Bacon and Asian. It's going to be able to pick away at them. Still, Skiller will have that heals. Whether or not that's going to be enough to counteract the poke that King Ping Huxbar is able. Herber? Hutbar? King Ping Hutbar. I'm going to go with King Ping because that's way too long a name. King Ping, what they can bring to the table. It's even from Champion Select, it's not looking fantastic for the X team. It doesn't. I don't know if the Skillers picking up Tarek was the best of ideas, especially picking into someone who can block his primary useful ability, that being the ranged, slow-moving, and easily blockable stun. But we'll see. We will see. Certainly, the aura of armor is going to be helpful for the entirety of the X team. As to whether it's going to be as useful, perhaps, as some of the other abilities that could be brought to this battle, we'll never know, I suppose. Oh, I do apologize if that came through on the stream. If my email can't open. But still, hat count-wise, I guess it's pretty light on both sides. I would say that if we're going to be generous with the definition of hats, then I would give it slightly in the favour of the X team, in that Tarek has got a kind of headband, which, you know, if we're generous with the definition, as I said before, could be considered a hat. Whereas on the opposing side, I don't think was really anything that could be considered a hat. So skins are really good, what's going to help determine the real determining factor. Of course, Jack Manac, we really need to know, I mean, everybody needs to know, what's the prediction for this game, what's going to happen, at what time, and, you know, what's going to be the result of it. I mean, taking a long view, the First Blood guess from First Blood prophecy from the previous game, incredibly accurate on the actual time it was going to happen, but as to the whole going on tilt part, didn't seem to pan out as much. I mean, it's, you know, it wasn't exactly the most amazing talent performance after that point, but it didn't result in a loss. Okay, no, Jeremy Sack, that's perfectly acceptable. You want to wait on the hats, and of course, like any professional analyst, that's, you know, that's of course the determining factor, really. So, you know, it makes sense. Summoner spell-wise, we're not seeing anything too crazy this time. I realise that we are seeing some quite significant, well, some interesting positional changes. Dreadon being the top laner this time round is going to bring the teleport, so a somewhat similar matchup from previous time. Benja on Gnar, going to be able to poke away at Dreadon. Can Dreadon close the distance? I do apologise, I think I can close your message and then pick it up later. I'm not certain, but I think. So yes, poking up in the top lane. At least Dreadon this time will have that teleport in order for it to get back in lane and not the ignite that worked out so poorly for them before. In the jungle, Fizzy, who worked very, very hard in the previous game, but ultimately it wasn't enough. On that Vi, as to whether or not that's going to be the best of pickups, there's certainly some pick potential from the Exeter X team, but as to whether or not that's going to pay off, it's a little hard to say. Alright, so hat count initiate. Alright, Dino Gnar, I think a onesie, is a onesie a hat? It certainly has a headpiece, so I'd say if we're going to be broad with it, yes, I'd say that was, it covers what a hat covers, so I'd say yes, it's probably close enough to count. So one hat so far, and I'd say if we're going to be really generous, Vi, Tarek and Gnar, yeah, I think, well, Vi's are sunglasses rather than an actual hat. They're in the same sort of position as a hat. Oh, goggles can. Well, in that case, then all bets are off, really. Right, we are onto the rift itself. Hopefully this time we won't have the same issues before with the connections. Both teams picking up those items pretty quickly. The race to be the laziest item picker is going to be won by Roseheart95, who is still in the base, as the X team are going to be the ones to make their presence felt early on. We'll have to see if these guys are going to aggress against each other. It looks like both top laners moving their way up, trying to get a little bit of positional advantage over their opponents to start off with, or at very worst, keep any unexpected aggression coming out. Wards are being dropped down in a couple of places, but not perhaps as deeply as might be liked. It's worth bearing in mind, of course, that the ward lifespan pretty low to start with. Okay, well, I think, you know, if you start to refer back to the this is not going to make any sense on the YouTube at all, with that Jack Minak is saying that goggles count in the hat cap as determining who's going to win. I mean, really, where does it end? If you're going to count goggles, then even it's the whole thing a little bit perturbing. Still, neither team looks like they're going to go for an early aggression. Same as the previous game, we're seeing bottom lanes helping out with the jungle. Warwick, of course, is who very safe. But still, keep Solo in mind, making sure that they get the best start off, because he's not necessarily the fastest of junglers, but certainly great at sustaining. Fizzy, keeping parallel, going to pick up red buff as opposed red buff on the blue side and blue buff on the red side. So we're going to see a gank early on. I think it's certainly more believable coming out from Fizzy coming out from Roseheart on that Warwick, who tends to be a bit legendary for his stay in the jungle. Okay, so we're going apparently Jack Misak. I mean, Jack Misak is the originator of the hats equals wins theory. So I guess some modifications to allow any kind of head covering, anything that covers the head, to be allowed is, you know, I guess entirely up to them. We might be seeing a fight break out. Orbus getting chunked down both the supports very tough. But damage being pretty darn even between these two. And it's worth bearing in mind that the healing advantage definitely in the favour of the X team down the bottom lane, with the only support who actually has a real healing ability, though, you know, it's going to take a bit of doing. Benja, and Dreadon going so aggressive with each other. The flash has been burnt. Kingping getting pinged down. Bacon Asians and Skiller doing good work down the bottom lane, trying to keep ranged advantage. TSM. No, not that TSM. But hey, let's call them TSM because that's for everything. Keep the TSM advantage in the bottom lane. The ranged advantage for TSM in the bottom lane from becoming too overwhelming. So Dreadon, it's going to get a little bit of help from Fizzy. Is Fizz going to come and try and go for a tower dive here? It's pretty dangerous, and Roseheart is in the area for potential. In the middle lane, it's pretty even, and we should be really, speaking of even, we should be trying to. There we go. Still a very violent ball. There's a lot more room for error on the X team side, though. That does not count. One should not discriminate against both people. Well said. Well said. Sorry, yes, just sorting out some technical bits and pieces there. But so far, not too much pressure being applied by either jungler. And it's always going to be something that's going to bear on the minds of the longer the game goes. More Rose Heart's going to become an issue. Ghost Boy and Papa Pepe really tearing at each other, breaking each other down to no manner at all, and turning it into an auto-attack fight, which I have to think is going to favour Oriana with her stacking damage on her auto-attacks. A little bit more. It's going to favour Ari. Without her skills, quite the beast that she could be otherwise. Raiden continues to be pestered by Benja in the top lane. And we do see Fizzy coming in, looking to see if we can get a sneaky there. The ward is there, so Team Silvermind are not going to be caught unawares by Fizzy if he does go across the wall, which doesn't even seem to be the case. Looking as far as CS goes, actually pretty shockingly, I say shockingly, not as dramatic as to warrant a word. Oh, Jack Misak says, can you say I am the Lightbringer in a voice similar to Vega? Vega. Oh, what does Vega sound like?
I will show no mercy.
Like that.
I am the Lightbringer.
That's probably the closest I can get. That's what Vega's voice sounds like. I noticed that the stream might be struggling a bit, so I'll make sure everything turned off that I can turn off on this end. Alright, I do apologise for that interruption while I sort some things out. Hopefully that will help the stream. Oh, thank you, Jack. He gave me a 5-star review. The fights break down the bottom lane. Let's say both the bottom lane participants getting chunked down, but the return damage from Kingpin enough there to keep that from being a particularly worthwhile part of his aim. Doesn't have that level 6, so can't really nail down the lane opponent. The top lane as well. Roseheart looks like they might be moving around either for a gank, I'm not even sure. We have yet to see Devourer come up. The usual choice for Warwick. But we might see a mid lane gank. Though Roseheart has yet to get that level 6. Infinite Duress isn't an option with that immediate and brilliant carrier for the wall. But level 6, it cannot be too far away for this. The junglers and bottom lanes as well. It's starting to tick over, and it's going to be so important that for either of these teams to be caught out pre-level 6 when their opponent gets up. Let's see. I don't know quite what happened in the bot lane, but I think that might have been exactly what happened. Looking X team, but they say all this, and here comes Fizzy coming in from the side. Beautiful, beautiful play. The knock-up is there. That was first blood after 8.5 minutes. Can they turn it into a second one? Nice. Dreadon gets pushed back, but the turret does not aggro, and Benja gets taken out. 2 kills for the X team after a really, really quiet opening start. X team come out with a beautiful gank from Fizzy, who comes in, just catches the corner, gets a double catch, and they might turn this into a dragon, but we'll have to see. Certainly we're seeing the convergence of the jungler and the bottom lane heading towards there. The Rift Scuffler being picked up for a little bit of extra security while they're taking the dragon. And the DPS coming out, not going to dragon of the world. We do see Roseheart coming down a long ping. I don't know if they're going to make any attempts to stop this dragon. It certainly wasn't going to be in time. The goal advantage does lie with the X team. Yes, hashtag get done is a more than appropriate way to put it, because that's certainly what did happen. All the time that Dreadon's been suffering under the boomerangs and arrows of outrageous fortune, coming in from Benja, paying off as the damage was just enough to secure the kill. And it's going to be incredibly satisfying. in a situation that's very similar to being poked up by a team all game, to finally get to step and go. Let's see if this continues though. We haven't seen too much of a presence from Roseheart, and that's got to be... feels like a mistake from Papa Pepe, almost walked back into range. Nailed by Ghost Boy. This didn't quite happen though. Both Ignites are down, so the last bit of damage not quite able to be there. Still, up at the top lane, looks like Dreadon is managing to stamp authority on the top lane. The Rage Bar is full. So there has to be a little bit of care on the part of Dreadon to sort out. At the bottom lane, the farming team, the Bacon Agents is quite a long way behind item-wise. And I presume it's going to build, like building towards the... I can't remember the name of the item. It's one of those. I think it's one of the new ones. The range cannon, the extended range cannon. I'm not sure. We'll find out. Well, Dragon that could well be a item for now. That's certainly that would make a lot of sense. It's certainly going to suffer a lot if Frozen Heart does. In the bottom lane, the fighting continues. Nothing too decisive. Fizzy and Roseheart find each other in the jungle. Ow! Oh, Pepe! There we go, the combo is real. It's a last bit of damage there. No, it's not! The burn doesn't quite do the job. Papa Pepe gets away on such low health. Fizzy is not able to lock down the lane opponent. Was that 3-0 for the X team? Frozen Heart, Frozen Mallet, Frozen something. To be honest, I think Frozen Heart or Frozen Mallet would. I'd say that, yes. I've got to just stop believing everything I read, because yes, Frozen Heart, possibly a little bit subpar on Narcissus, doesn't have any mana, but still, wouldn't be the worst in the world to see it somewhere on the team. Maybe perhaps on Norbus, but yes. You are right with your insinuations. 50,000? 5,000? 50,000. In that it's not actually the most sensible thing. So I would take that back. I'm pretty sure you can take things back on the internet. Works. That's why it's so popular with politicians. Dreadon could be in trouble. It's going to get a visit from the Roseheart Fairy. Poor little pink ward. It's going to be the victim. The Condemned doesn't quite connect. Skiller being forced back. But is the damage going to the wrong place? Bacon and Asians. The last hits, are they going to be there? Norbus may end up paying the price for a little bit of an overextension. The stun comes out on Bacon Agents, the combination King Ping even, being forced back, and a nice little brawl. Both sides itching to get those kills, but it's quite happening. It's so dangerous. Notice Papa Pepe making their way down towards the bottom side. We seeing a turret dive coming in soon, but speaking of turret dives, here comes Fizzy, the slow, the catch. Benja is in so much trouble. Fizzy takes the kill. 4 kills on the board for the X team. It's clone, but he can't spell. That probably made a lot more sense like about 20 seconds ago, at least to me. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm sure it was probably pretty clever. So, Ghost Boy gets caught out. Lovely, lovely catch, but good use of the Assault and Battery, basically cancelling out a lot of the bad effects of that shockwave by riding it with the Assault and Battery. So 5 kills for the Exeter X team. Still not massively far ahead on gold. They haven't turned this into turret leads, but they're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves. He can't spell. Oh. Wait, whose name is Clone? I don't know. Oh, Papa Pepe misses! That's going to be crucial. Roseheart gets the first kill of the game. Does keep Southern Mind a real panic mid lane. And speaking of panic, Bacons and Asians could be panicking right now. Has to get away from that culling. Surely he's going to have to move away from that turret. Had to fight 1-on-2 and it did not work out well at all. Oh, clone 50,000. Right. I got really confused. I thought he was talking about somebody in the game. Sorry, my short-term memory is just fine. Kingpin being aggressed onto, but it's Bacon and Asians who's suffering for it. But here comes Fizzy. Can Fizzy get across the wall? He can, but doesn't get the knockup they really needed. The stun comes down, but there's no AD carry to follow up. Bacon Asians playing it defensively, doesn't want to get pulled into a death battle, which may not work out well for them at all. Still, the advantage lies in the court of the X team, but the gold difference is really great considering that it's a 4-kill lead. They haven't turned it into too much yet, and we could see Dragon going over to Team Solo Mine if the X team aren't able to mobilize in time. Well, speaking of mobilizing, it looks like Bacon and Asians, it's going to be Shockwave in the play. Combo is real, and the X team just aren't able to respond. I do apologize, I'm going to drink. A salt and pepper, yes. A salt and pepper on cooldown, quite likely. Well, without the damage there to follow up. Not a salt and pepper, near as effective. Skiller gets a stun down on the Kingpin. It seems to be all by themselves. This could be a mistake. I don't know about this. This seems so dangerous for Skiller. Blood Scent is there, and this is starting to slip out of the X team's hand and making sloppy mistakes. Really them. Dragon goes across. Going to be really important, especially because we're looking at Roseheart with a Devourer. Well, how many stacks is it going to put them on? It's going to put them on 11 stacks. So important to get those dragons when you've got a Devourer jungle on your team. Let's pop a camera back on. Let's see if the X team can get any more kills. Nice catch, good push into the tower. Is the damage there? Dreadon again with a dunking. But there could be a punish. Is Ghost Boy? No, doesn't have the Shockwave quite yet. And that's going to let the X team get away with that. Slightly messy kill. But still, ultimately, it was a dunk. And I'll argue with that. So I like the Assault and Pepper joke. Definitely going to steal that one. So, X team had the early advantage. They might have squandered it to an extent. I think they possibly not taking into account the reason that they were ahead was I can't say this for certain, but I would have to assume that Roseheart spending a lot of their time farming the jungle is going to affect their ability, going to affect the early game mid negatively. But once we start to see that full Devourer coming out, it's going to be problematic for Exeter to be able to deal with, especially when alongside the Infinite Duress we're going to be seeing the Shockwave come out as well, making absolutely miserable anyone who's subject. Bacon and Asians has to try and get away, and it's not looking great. We are seeing that Frozen Mallet, not a Frozen Heart, a Frozen Mallet being picked up in the top lane. So Benja can at least try and get those slows and try and keep his opponent at bay. Cleaver for Dread, and it's going to make that. I don't know if that's going to completely counteract it. We'll have to see. Bacon Asians being pushed back off the turret. Not a great time. Oh wow, Skiller takes all of that! Kingpin getting pushed out the back. This could be what the X team needs in this bottom lane. One more shot, surely going to do it. No! Bacon and Asians doesn't quite get it, and he's going to get punished. The Shockwave comes in, 2 kills! Going across to Ghost Boy, and what a mistake! That's right, kids. Don't try and be cool. Don't walk away at the end. Try and kill someone, and then some. But here we go. Dreading comes in. He's going to try and be the difference maker. Does get the dunk. Is lured away. Fizzy going to be lured away by the promise of Pink Ward Gold as Dreading continues on into the Team Solar Mines jungle. There's no dragon here for the Exeter teams. He's feeling feisty. He is trying to make life hard for the Cardiff team. Roseheart gets caught, has no escapes at all. Surely he's going to go down. No, he doesn't. The last bit of damage again, not there. Exeter team cruelly denied by fate or by design. Interesting decision Ari to build Well, Jack Manak makes a good point. The Morello is an interesting choice. Yes, I think entirely right, Jack Manak. That Morello is presumably being picked up to try and counteract Roseheart's ability to heal. But no, you are making a good point that that's the only champion that's going to do anything that's terrifically significant too. And we'll have to see if they are prioritizing dealing with the Warwick, sorry. Then it speaks to their mindset. At least they are aware that's going to be a threat, and they're trying to get out ahead of it. Papa Pepe up in the top lane, swapping lane opponents. It's like we're seeing a thread and going for a more roaming style play. Benja is suffering quite a lot in this game. Skiller gets caught between a rock and a hard place, so it's going to be very, very hard for them to get away. They do have a little bit of speed boost. Can they use that to get away? No, the shockwave just catches them on the tail end. Kingpin takes the kill. Gold so close between these teams. A lot of gold are being passed around. I guess as I thought, it's Kingpin who's really carrying the torch for Team Solar Mind right now, as they pour down the middle lane, looking to try and maybe take a turret here, get that gold lead back up to parity. And it doesn't look like the next team are going to be able to do very much about this at all. Turret comes down like it's made out of paper, and the gold brought up exactly to parity. We'll have to see if the Exeter team can secure some of those turrets, or at least that top side turret, to push themselves ahead again. For the moment, the next thing for these teams is going to be that dragon. It's only about 30, well, I say about 30 seconds, it literally is going to be, let's count it down, 32, 31, 30 seconds. 30 seconds away. And so far, both teams having got that, sure, one dragon. One of these teams going to be able to start meandering their way towards that potential 5th dragon. Still, games being so short as they are, oftentimes does not go that far. Jack saying that the Exeter vision not so great, maybe needs to focus on river wards to get sweepers to clear that fantastic defensive vision from TSM. Yep, I do agree. Certainly in the previous, Swansea seemed to have a better. But speaking of doesn't seem like to say clairvoyant toward coming down, making Team Solo Mind aware that the dragon is being taken, but there wasn't really that much they could do about it. And as I mentioned before, Roseheart going to be feeling a little bit upset, perhaps, to not be getting those Devourer stacks. It's going to extend the period of time. Oh, Benja really wary of Treadon, trying to make sure doesn't get murdered, as has been part of the course thus far. Still, once that top, oh wow, really nice dash away, Spirit Rush from Papa, making sure the Shockwave does not connect, and we may well be seeing, once Dreadon gets his topside tower down, that his attention's more towards the team fights, because much in the same way that a lot of the hopes are riding on Ghost Boy and Kingpin for Team Solar Mind. Well, let's not talk about that right now. The catch is almost there. Fizzy is tanking some of those culling shots. That was so close to a kill for both sides. But the blue buff gets de-aggroed. Go back and both sides looking to try and get those little advantages. The charm just knocked it. Really crucial if it had. Dreading gets in, does get the catch, but can the rest of his team keep up with him? Salt and Battery comes out. Yes, he did in fact get a Salt and Pepper. His heart gets taken out as well. This is looking great for the X team. It's so close, but they are just getting each one of these massive, absolutely massive for the X team. Everything they want, almost an ace. Warwick may well be at his wit's end as he picks the item up. Team Solar Mind played very well in that team fight, but it just didn't quite work all the time. We'll keep an eye on what's going on here, since I think we're going to see another turret go down. But can have a quick, if it seems to be resetting something, we'll have a quick take a quick look back at what happened in that team fight and see if we can figure out what's going on. Alright, let's pop back and see if we can get... are we in the right place? I think we're after it. Okay, so Fizzy playing a little bit defensive here, but they've got the choke point, which is presumably going to play into Ghost. Oh, Ghostboy doesn't have the shockwave. That's the important thing. So Norbus gets caught, gets taken down as Fizzy blows his Sultan battery to take out the support, which on the other circumstances may not have been best. You see Dreadon right in the middle there, keeping himself healthy. Bacon and Asians and Papa Pepe are able to form a strong backline, and they string out Team Solar Mind and get an amazingly nice team fight. The culling comes down. Dreadon is going to pay for his sins. That's 390 gold. Sorry, no, 450 gold going across the entirety of Team Solar Mind, which is massive. Fizzy almost suffered the same fate. Nearly got stunned up. Those stacks stacking up nicely. Still, turrets now in the favour of the Exeter team. Jack Vanak's hat theory, hard to argue with. Fizzy could be in trouble. Here comes Bacon Asians, pushes away the AD carry, trying to keep Fizzy alive, who has to flash. Bacon Asians may have to flash as well. The stun, the kill for Roseheart, not great. Messy play from Exeter, leaving themselves open. They're being caught out. I think their vision not quite sufficient to realise that they were being encircled until it was too late, and emergency rescue operations did not go quite as planned. Still, so this game very much in contention, only a couple of thousand gold between these two teams. Exeter have made some very good plays, but the potential on the side of Team Solar Mind cannot be ignored. Their Warwick going to continue to get stronger and stronger as the game progresses. Charm does not connect, and Exeter are a little bit scattered around these bushes, which they do have vision of. Though Skiller almost walks right into Team Solar Mind, and it's on a knife edge as to whether or not we're going to see a mistake from Exeter, which is going to cost them. There is no dragon right now, so the objectives around this area are pretty limited. Neither team look like they're really in a position to take Baron, as all seem that interested in taking Baron as yet. No real vision secured around it. But Dreadon seems quite happy to just continue as he's started, taking care of business in the top lane. I have to think that Dreadon's going to have to apply all of that money, all those kills to some other areas on the map. Though, I guess saying that, Exeter have done pretty well as far as taking out the turrets goes. They are hit by one, mid-side, very much pushed in. So the question then becomes, where do Exeter go next? It's worth noting the Bacon Nations is in the bottom lane farming, so this, if there was going to be a chance for a united Team Solar Mind to get a fight, this might be it, but still, saying all this, King Ping isn't quite with them as of yet. But I can't help but feel there is a winner opportunity here for Team Solar Mind to catch a 5-on-4 fight. No, a 5-on-3 fight even. This is pretty dangerous for the Exeter team. If the engage happens, and it's going to, then there we go. The Frozen Mallet makes Dreadon's day really, really terrible. And as strong as he is, I don't know if he can catch up. Wow! The damage is crazy being exchanged. The assaults and batters, but can't get away. Kills 2 apiece so far. The Papa Pepe in trouble. It's going to be 3 for 2. And to be honest, I don't know if Skiller was completely necessary to go down and help Bacon Agents, because that 3-on-4 fight, not really what the Exeter team are looking for. Yeah, certainly. Jack and I talking about the Athenes being a decent pickup against the kind of damage coming out from Ori. To be honest, in the same sort of way that that Jack Manak pointed out that Morelos is only really useful against one member of the opposing team, I can understand not taking the Athenes for Papa Pepe for the same reason that there's only one AP character on Team Solo Mind. So it's tough to say. Certainly, I would think that a Aegis or Legion would be a sensible pickup for. Speaking of sensible, both teams going for these global objectives, but it's taking a while for Exeter to burn through theirs. The dragon has been taken with quite swiftness by Team Solar Mind, but the Baron is next on the menu. And Team Solar Mind close the distance in time. Baron's coming very, very low. Culling is there. It's not going to finish. The blue team does get the Baron. Shockwave is massive. Exeter team have been taken down to minimal health. Can they keep hold of this Baron? It's going to be very, very dicey. Bacon and Asians is being pushed back out of this fight. Roseheart, Bacon being sacrificed, and Exeter, not what they were hoping for perhaps. Fizzy is there to try and counteract the aggression. The Night Ultimate comes down. Lovely, lovely play from Fizzy there. Using the turret, gets 2 kills. Really, really nice play. Ghost Boy is having to run away. Fizzy's presumably going to go across the wall. It doesn't have the assault and battery to catch up though. But Kingpin just broke off from that fight, and that could have been crucial. Still, if they can grab hold of a turret, I can't imagine they can feel too bad about the whole thing. Still, a pretty big massacre on both sides. Kingpin could be in trouble. He has the the cleanse coming out. I didn't even see that. And Kingpin, using his ability to try and stay away from Vi. No assault and battery again. It's still ahead, but some of these fights looking a little dicey. Well, we'll have to see what comes next. The Baron gold at least going into the pockets of Exeter, so that's keeping them ahead goal-wise. But the pretty terrible team fight afterwards, it's tough. It's tough to say what if perhaps some members of the Exeter team could have peeled out to try and keep their team. It's tricky, especially when you have a big objective like the Baron. It can be hard to make that call as to, you know, should we abandon it and try and fight, or, you know, should we just commit to this one? Because at the end of the day, even if your team gets aced afterwards, you've been, well, to be fair, actually, you probably aren't actually ahead of goal because of all the assists knocking around. So I'm going to shut my mouth. Yes, don't get aced back. Well, both teams don't seem to want to really commit to a fight, which I think is going to go terrifically well. First person to get caught out. We do see the Exeter team splitting up. Looks like they're going to be heading up to the top lane, which is sensible enough. We might again be seeing Dreadon getting caught out. I'd like to maybe see Dreadon swapping out. I know this is not going to happen, but if Dreadon were to go for boost of swiftness, it's a matter of taste, I suppose. Skiller is going to be the one who's a little bit out of position. Yellow X is going to try and turn this one around. The flash across the wall, culling it not in the right place whatsoever. Dreadon trying to go for a cheeky catch across the wall. This may not be the most sensible of ideas. Skiller is still very low on health. If I was to choose a fight today, it probably wouldn't be the fight where the support had just been fairly battered. Still, a good reaction from Team Solar Mind. They came up, they made sure that their top lane turret was not going to get taken. Both teams very standoffish at this point. Doesn't seem like either one wants to remake that mistake, which is going to cost them. Because certainly on this patch, it's very easy to make a mistake and lose out big time. Turrets get taken out. Speaking of being taken out, Ghost Boy gets deleted. They catch another member. Norbots makes good use of the glacial divide. Oh wow, Papa Pepe so aggressive. Such a mistake, gets taken out. Still, Exeter will get that top side. At least the Cardiff team gets some of their trouble, and Skiller again going to be the whipping boy, I think, unless he can buy time for Dracian to come in and maybe catch. Yes, he does catch a Kingpin. These The slow one to Rosehart, the Condemned pushes him through his own base gate. That's a little embarrassing for Bacon and Asians. But I can certainly understand the attempt. But unfortunately, any further aggression is going to be curtailed somewhat by the lack of minions in the middle lane for Exeter. Yes, as Jack Mack is saying in the chat, it was a pretty greedy play from Papa Pepe. Got a little bit too carried away, too aggressive. And as is often the case in League of Legends, tanky champions thrive on low health because it's hard to tell with all of the items involved how much damage your skills do, in a hurry. Suppose chipping away at a tank champion for a while, when you need to burst them down, it can be hard to tell. Is it going to be just enough, or is it going to be, like in this case, not quite enough, and in which case I'm going to immediately die. Still, Dragon is going to be up very, very shortly, only another 10 seconds to go. Exeter secure that permanent vision, I say permanent vision, secure the speed buff. Notice that Benja, as in the top lane, does have that teleport. Dragon emerges. We don't see Bacon and Asians though, so there is an opportunity here for those teams to do work. They feel inclined to do so though. The Dragon looks like it's going to go to Exeter pretty safely. Team Solo Mind, I don't know exactly where they're going. As to be, need to try and make some sort of move on the open inhibitor on the Exeter mid lane. Still, I'm not sure about this. It's only 1 minute to the next Baron. That could potentially be what they're trying to set up for. If we start to see some vision wards go down, that certainly gives it a pretty strong indication. Norbus though gets caught out. The chain crowd control, too much to deal with, and that's surely going to put pay to any Baron plans for Team Solomon. The teleport comes to the top. Exeter don't want to even give up this top side turret, and they're not going to have to. Team Solar Mind running back with their tails between the legs. Can Exeter turn this into an advantage? The Assaultive Battery comes out on Ghost Boy. The Zonius is there. Exeter looking to maneuver down. Shockwave not going to do too much of anything. Ghost Boy goes down. And this could be entirely the opposite of how Team Solar Mind wanted this one to go. Where they could have been trying to apply some pressure to a really easier Baron. It happened, they've made Baron vastly easier for Exeter, which is going to surely help a lot with their already considerable gold lead. Interesting item pickups, but let's not talk about that right now. Papa Pepe gets caught. No, the Condemned this time doesn't quite push for the base walls. Okay, but might as well have. Papa Pepe again with a little bit over aggressive play. Yes, the RE split pushing is quite strong, but it's so hard to deal with in duress. No mobility is going to get you away from the suppress. Still, Skiller again getting... Fortunately, it seems like Team Solar Mind are inclined to help out poor little Skiller, who was in danger of being horribly murdered, by swatting him away from the Again in trouble. The Condemned does not connect fully. That could have been another kill. Exeter, but not quite yet. That is up, and at this point, all of the members of both teams are up. So any big window for Exeter to go for the Baron seems to have passed Skiller. Not quite sure what he's going for there. Perhaps trying to bait out some sort of engage from Team Solar Mine. Papa Pepe is coming up. We are going to see full numbers, but at the same time, I don't know if this is necessarily the best move for Exeter. I'm not sure if they're going to try and force a fight or trying to force a turret here, because they certainly can't keep their minions around for very long. They honestly don't actually know what Exeter's trying for. They don't have the ranged champions to be able to poke down the turret, and the wave clear for Team Solar Mind is strong enough that even if they did, it probably wouldn't matter. So there we go. Exeter finally do make their move towards the Baron. We'll have to see if they're going to bait it out, and I think that might well be the case. seeing Team Solar Mind coming towards them, inching ever closer. And the fight breaks out, not the fight they wanted. It's Shockwave. Nations is at the back though, pumping in the damage. The kill does come across, and it's looking pretty disastrous as you see Team Solar Mind being scattered to the winds. Norbus is being chased into the Exeter jungle. The charm connects, Papa Pepe secures the kill. And to be honest, that was a relatively even team fight up until that point. But psychologically, Team Solar Mind checked out after they lost unit cohesion. But still, speaking of, Benja gets caught, gets taken out, and any attempt on the Baron has surely been completely, definitively denied. Second Baron of the game going across to the Exeter X team. And the recall, empowered recalls, means they're going to go make use of that extra money very quickly. Phew! Well, a 6k gold lead for the Exeter X team. They're putting those into extra items now. A very early Mercurial Scimitar are being picked up for Bacon and Asians. Presumably going to be trying to avoid getting caught out by Roseheart's Infinite Duress, which makes a lot of sense to be honest, since that's going to be their primary way of dealing with Bacon and Asians. He was able to sit at the back of that fight and quite happily just pump in damage all day long. Hat Theory is riding strong. Norbus gets caught, but similarly to what was happening before, it's difficult for the X team to push further, but I realise with the Baron, not as much of an issue. Making clear those mini waves and then going down the front. No, the catch and Papa Pepe again gets caught out, again gets killed. Bacon and Asians gets taken out as well. This could be disastrous for the X team. They're getting shut down. Triple kill going across the Kingpin, and that was exactly, well, give or take a turret and inhibitor kill. Team Solar Mind couldn't have done too much better off that one. A lot of shutdown going around and a lot of gold going across onto the Kingpin 80 carry. Be able to invest into some last bit of items as they push down towards them. Presumably they're going to take this inhibitor if they can get past the the wall of flesh that is Dredon, who is so strong. He's going to try and take on, along with Fizzy, 3-on-2. We see a very circumspect Roseheart making their way out. Ghost God gets taken out. Good God. This makes no sense at all. But Dredon so strong, able to bully their way in. Top to that dragon. May get more than he bargained for as Fizzy comes in from behind. Which one of these guys is going to get it? Roseheart showing the big weakness of Warwick, no way to really escape. The knock-up is there. The apprehend doesn't quite catch, but the assault and it's going to catch hold and make a delicious meal of Roseheart 95. Fizzy shoves out Norbus. And fourth of the game. Exeter X team. Yes. Hey Spexy, welcome to the chat. Yes, hello there Drake. It's lovely to see you. So only one Drake away. The X team have got that extra minion and monster damage now, so they're going to be able to push all the more effectively, and also extra Barons and Dragons going to be even easier. I can't believe you've done this. Done what? Come up with a hat theory? Sorry. I remain aware of people who are going to be watching this afterwards, and me responding directly to a chat without explaining what it is I'm responding to is always going to be confusing. Skiller, two blue buffs for a blue team. Exeter X team. Exeter X team making good use of their map dominance, picking up those lovely buffs which are going to serve them so well. It's important to note, of course, they did not use that inhibitor. They still got the inhibitory advantage. They've got the Baron. Well, I don't think they've got the Baron buff anymore. But they've certainly got a huge map advantage, making sure that the vision for Solar Mind is as limited as possible so to reduce opportunities. Unfortunately, Rosehart, the late game promise for Team Solar Mine, not able to apply themselves quite as much as perhaps would see how this fight breaks out. Another inhibitor dropping. Kingpin gets taken down very low, but in a similar situation to the wave clear, pretty good for Team Solar Mine. There's the shockwave. They do manage to move their front line into the way. This is breakout. The Sultan back in the back line. Roseheart is there. And Sonya takes takes Papa Pepe through a lot of the damage, and it's disastrous again. So well played by Team Solar Mine. They're trying down half of the punch is too big, and that's gonna ace the triple. Exeter leverage their advantage into pretty dominated last team fight. It looked like it could go either way. Nice strategy from Team Solar Mine, but they got too far behind and it didn't quite pan out. Well played, both teams. Hats obviously the key to victory for Exeter's X team. Whew. Well, that's been quite an exciting time. I'm just going to leave this on the screen for the moment because I'm going to see if I can hop onto the TeamSpeak to get a post-match interview with a previous team, which I've immediately forgotten the names of. Oops. A very long password. There we go. Oh, they've all gone.
Rip.
We're near them. Oh, they're there. Hello.
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 Room full of people. You're live on the internet for a very small amount of people, and probably YouTube.
It's most of us.
Woo. Yeah, we are most
Anyway.
viewers at the moment.
I can dig it.
We were the
It's
team from
cool.
the first game.
Yes, I'm aware. I hope so. Like, it'd be really confusing for just some other random people. So, who's going to be your spokesperson?
I would say it's the captain, so...
Don't give it to
Captain's
Connor.
Richard.
Yeah, that's why I said it's the captain.
Who's
Yeah.
the captain then?
I volunteered Dave.
I probably am. Yeah. I'm captain of the NUEL team.
He
Oh,
volunteers
I'm the
his
Ellis.
tribute.
Yes.
I'm not happy to be represented by Richard.
All right, Rich. All right, Rich. So, talk us through what happened in this first game.
I don't know. I think it just proves that Swansea's better than Exeter. I think that's the main thing there.
That's a strong thing to say.
I know.
That's gonna get you into trouble very quickly.
But I'm
Why
just
are we
glad to see
letting
that,
Richard be our
Exeter in
captain?
that second game, Exeter beat Cardiff, because we all know Cardiff is the worst out of the three of us.
Oh man,
Rip.
I'm feeling so good about my decision to do you guys now. Aside
You're
from
definitely-
racial abuse, or I guess city abuse. I don't know if there's a word for that. What do you think was the key to your victory in that game?
It was really just the hard CCF, and we got really good ults from
Yeah.
IEDC, which we were able to follow up and just focus on a lane, get out and hip, and win the game in the end.
It was if we lock down the Kale, then she can like keep anyone alive. I mean, she did keep people alive. We managed to stay alive long enough that we could still kill them. It just goes to the point where our
The only
people
threat was the Kale.
outscaled
So
them.
if we got Kale to ult someone else or killed her before she could ult, then we were pretty much sorted for the team, really.
No, I liked what I was seeing.
I'd say. Just go ahead.
It's terrible when you can't see people and you can't see people like, yes, I liked what I was seeing with what you guys were doing with the chain crowd control, and it did seem like that was inevitable at some point or other that you were going to catch them out with the chain crowd control, and they were not going to get to use intervention, which is basically what happened, and they lost.
Exactly. And it's like they had a really hard, a willing team if they can get ahead and really hard engage, but we have escapes as well. So if they get out of place, there's not much they can do besides try and run. Meanwhile, we actually have quite a few escapes that we can use to get out of a stick situation, which is very useful.
I mean, this is probably a poor form question to ask, but I'm all about poor form questions. If you were to pass along any advice to your opponents from the first game, the Exeter team, was there anything that you guys think that they could have done differently to kick you guys to the curb?
Guys? Team?
Camp.
Well, okay, gonna go, yeah.
Oh yes, camp mid lane because our mid laner tilts really hard if he gets angry. That's all I can say.
I hard tilt, and I'm probably the person who not needs to snowball the most. But if I get enough pressure put on me, it's just gonna like sort of fall apart.
If you get ahead, you tend to stay ahead and you can hard carry. But if you get behind, you tilt really hard. So that's and if our mid laner tilts, the rest of us kind of tilt as well. So our team kind of centers around the mid, really.
Oh yes.
I don't know if you guys are aware that I presume that you know Jack Minak in some fashion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That he predicted to the second the gank that would happen in the mid lane.
Was it to the
Because
second?
Connor is very predictable.
Well, to be fair, it was Fizzy coming in the mid lane. Like it was, I think the gank started at the time at 1:30, and he said in the chat at 1:30 he'll gank.
Mm.
And I was like, well, oh, I'm sorry, it might be 3:15, so not 1:30. That's be stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. I'm a terrible interviewer, so I've run out of questions immediately. But at least, hey, at
I'd
least
say that was really predictable. I was just going to say that was probably really predictable for the mid lane because Connor likes to go all in if he sees an opportunity. So that extends
And
out
he's on
coming
the
in,
Talon,
probably
so
quite
Talon
expected.
tends to go quite deep.
Like meanwhile, even though I try to gank early, I tend to focus a bit more on farming and getting enough money to get some basic items and then gank with vision.
yes.
So I'm not the best. I'm probably not quite as good at early ganks as their team. But
I was on a champion that wasn't as familiar with as some of my more core champs.
yeah.
The Yasuo.
I would have played
Yasuo,
I'd rather played a Yasuo, an Echo, or a Lissandra, but I decided that a Talon would have been a better pick for the pick comp.
Yeah. At least you got to play Yasuo the second game. That won us.
Yep.
Yes.
Full AD team.
I would probably say we won that because of me, but that was definitely, I think that was because of Dave and because of James.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I'm tired, so I'm gonna go now. But thank you very much for talking to YouTube at large. Because this is a little dislocated from where it should be in the cast, could you remind the viewers of your team name?
Ronsons represent.
The Swan.
Oh yeah.
Swan Ronsons.
Swan Ronsons.
The Swan Ronsons, that's right, from Swansea. Well, I hope you guys continue to show a dominating performance. And well, if you play your cards right, maybe you'll get to get cast by the actual NUEL guys, because those guys are pretty cool. And they've got tri-casts and stuff. It's pretty amazing.
We'll live in hope.
All right, guys.
We'll try and make it there like in maybe 3 years or so.
Yeah,
See
you
ya.
gotta believe. All right, have a nice evening, you guys.
We will.
Nice talk.
All the best to Exeter as well.
Hope to play you again at some point.
All right, well, the Swansea posse, respectful as always. Well, that's going to be it for this evening. Thank you very much for sticking with us, if you have stuck with us, or if you're watching on YouTube. I don't think there's anything too much more to say. This has been gone out on twitch.tv/WeskBiscuit, but there'll be there will be more coming out on this channel or on the League UK Twitch/League UK without an underscore channel at some point. Check out the UK Shoutcasters group if you're not aware of it. And I'll let the Exeter and Swansea guys fight it out in the Twitch chat. Because really, what are friends for? Alright. Have a great evening, all of y'all, and keep watching the skies.